Well, please be seated. Well, good afternoon. My name is Dave Douglas. It's my pleasure to serve as Dean of the Law School here at William & Mary, and I want to welcome you to today's award ceremony. This is always a fun event. Let me talk to you a little bit about the rules of engagement. If you have a family member or a friend who's receiving an award, feel free to express your enthusiasm for the choice. That's okay. And in fact, if you're quick on your feet and can get down, you can snap a picture, because we're going to have a lot of folks kind of coming across the stage. We're also going to take pictures of pretty much everybody. So, but if you want to catch a photo and you move quickly, we're probably not going to wait for you. Feel free to do so. There will be a few awards that we will hand out tomorrow. So we won't be doing all of them today, but we will do a good number of awards today, and we enjoy doing this. It's a wonderful way to honor our graduating class. I do want to mention, I suspect all of you will be at commencement tomorrow, and if I were you and I had gotten the commencement materials as a parent or family member, my first question would be, what's with 8:15? Are you serious? Well, let me just say a word about that. There's a lot of you are not from Tidewater, Virginia, and have not experienced Tidewater, Virginia in May. You're going to be very glad we're at 8:15. We're outdoors in a beautiful amphitheater overlooking a lake. The families, by the way, you guys will be in the shade for most of the ceremony, which will be lovely. That's why we do it. It's also a lot easier with parking. We're kind of the first out of the gate tomorrow. So there you have it. After the ceremony today, I want to invite all of you to come up to the law school a few blocks from here, and we have a very nice reception for all members of the class of 18 that begins at 4:45. So please do join us. It's a good time to chat with professors and classmates, and it's a lovely event. So if you have time in your schedule, please come and join us at the reception after this ceremony is over. One more thing I thought I would mention. You've undoubtedly seen this mace adorning the stage, and you may be wondering, what's with that? Well, it's got a very interesting history. It was fabricated in the 19th century. They made about 7 of these, and they made them for use in the House of Commons. In fact, the House of Commons mace that is used to this day is a replica of this one. So we feel very fortunate to have it. We have very close ties, this law school does, this university does, with England. And so we feel it's very appropriate. At all of our formal ceremonies, we carry the mace that is used in the House of Commons. We begin today's ceremonies recognizing the new members of Order of the Coif. Coif is the Phi Beta Kappa of the law school world. It's one of the highest honors that a law school confers on its graduates, and this year we will admit 18 new members into the Order of the Coif based on their grade point average at the end of their 3 years. And it represents 10% of the graduating class. Let me just say a quick word about Coif. Coif was founded in this country in the early 20th century as a society or an order to recognize law students who had displayed outstanding academic accomplishment. But its origins really go back to the Middle Ages. And let me just tell you quite briefly about the origins of Order of the Coif. By the middle decades of the 14th century in England, a tradition had developed that the most senior and exalted members of the profession were granted the rank of sergeant at law. That's an odd phrase, sergeant at law. What it meant in Old French, it was derived from Latin, and it means to be a servant. And so the lawyers of that era were called sergeants at law because they had a duty to serve all of the king's subjects in their role as lawyers. In time, you could be commanded by the king to become a sergeant at law, and it was a command that was quite a prestigious thing to be asked to be a sergeant of law. And the selection process came with a very formal ceremony. All the new initiates, all the new sergeants at law would kneel in a row. The justices of the Court of Common Pleas, or the King's Bench, who are already members of the order, would come and place a scarlet hood on each of the new members who had become a sergeant at law, and also, and here's the key, put on their head a little cloth, like a little baby's bonnet, the coif, the coif. And so thereafter, all the sergeants of law, and again, these were sort of the preeminent lawyers in medieval England, would wear, to signify their stature, would wear their bonnet, as well as the scarlet cloth. We don't have bonnets here today. Can I just tell you that? Nobody's going to be wearing bonnets, but it is a lovely tradition. They thought it was. I'm not sure what it looked like or how it would have been to wear a bonnet. In the early 20th century, as I mentioned, schools decided, let's reach back into medieval England, from which our roots came as American law schools, and honor students by recognizing this earlier tradition of the ceremony recognizing the sergeants at law. Today, about 85 of the more than 200 law schools have a chapter of Order of the Coif. We, of course, are one of them, and are very pleased to have a chapter here at William & Mary. What I'd like to do now is proceed with the initiation of the class of 2018, Order of the Coif, and I'd like to invite the Vice Dean, Patty Roberts, to come forward. She's our chapter secretary. She will read the names, and as your name is read, please come up onto the stage and stay up here, because we will have a photo op. Okay, Patty.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to all our graduates and their families. I'm going to read your name, and please come up to shake the dean's hand and get a certificate. And congratulations, this is a most excellent honor to be in the top 10% of your class. Caitlin Anderson. Mary Catherine Atkinson. Andrew G. Barna. Brian P. Becker. Laura E. Blado. Emily A. Bork. Julie A. Casino. Darcy L. Case. Robert L. Jones. Lori Kai. William Logan Lewis. Andrew B. Lowy. Mary Caitlin Lukish. Andrew L. Milam. Molly M. Ramsden. Matthew G. Rosendahl. Daniel A. Sinclair. And Paris H. Thompson III. Congratulations. We are most proud of your accomplishment.
Go to the other if he's not looking in the right correct direction.
Well, congratulations to all of you. It turns out we have one other Order of the Coif to grant today. Our law school did not have an Order of the Coif chapter until 1980. So what the National Coif Organization permits us to do is to confer Order of the Coif on one person every year. And our requirements are twofold for this person. Number one, they had to have been someone who was here who would have received Order of the Coif based on their academic performance had we had a chapter when they were here. And number two, they have to have had a particularly distinguished legal career. So today we have a candidate who satisfies both of those criteria, Joseph W. Montgomery III from the class of 1972. Let me tell you a little bit about Jack Montgomery, who is our honorary Coif member today. He did his undergraduate work at the University of Virginia. He came to William & Mary for law school. While in law school, he served as executive editor of the William & Mary Law Review and compiled an exceptional academic record. After leaving us, he has spent most of his career, he's still practicing law, at Jones Day in Pittsburgh. Jack has worked primarily in the field of insurance law. He's represented major corporate clients in the United States and in Europe, and he regularly serves as a commercial arbitrator in London and Bermuda on matters of insurance liability. For 25 years or so, he's been an adjunct professor at the University of Pittsburgh Law School, teaching a number of substantive courses on insurance law. Jack Montgomery is highly regarded in the field of insurance law. He's a fellow of the College of American Trial Lawyers. He's a member of the American Law Institute, where he's an advisor to the restatement of the law of liability insurance. He's also listed by the Guide to the World's Leading Insurance and Reinsurance Lawyers as one of the top insurance and reinsurance lawyers in the world. So Jack clearly would have been eligible for Coif had we had a chapter in 1972, which sadly we did not. And he certainly had a very distinguished career. Jack Montgomery, if you will please come forward. Yeah, sure. Photo op time. Photos come first.
Dean Douglas, thank you for the kind remarks that even my mother wouldn't have believed. To the faculty, my sincere appreciation. Very kind of you, I'm quite touched. To the graduates of 2018, I wish you the best. I hope that you find the same fulfillment and joy in the practice of law that I have. Thank you very much.
Jack, thank you very much. Now, the law school, an important part of our the law school experience for students are our competition teams. And William & Mary has a number of competition teams that are quite successful, particularly our moot court team, our trial team, and our alternative dispute resolution team. I'm going to reference a few of their successes this year. Now, we'll tell you that these successes are earned by both 1Ls, 2Ls, and 3Ls. But you know what? The 1Ls and 2Ls aren't here. I'm not talking about them. This is a 3L day. Our moot court team is one of the oldest programs here at the law school and one of the most successful. And let me just say a little bit about the history of moot court, because moot court begins at William & Mary. Some of you know this history, but of course, our law school was founded in 1779 at the heart of the American Revolution by Thomas Jefferson. He thinks we're going to win the revolution, and when we do, we're going to need lawyers prepared to lead the new country. And a great way to prepare lawyers for leadership is the moot court experience. It had actually originated in England. It was thought to be a great way to have a young lawyer argue a case, argue one side of the case, and then immediately argue the other side of the case. Great training method. It begins here at William & Mary, and it has always been a very powerful organization for our students. In fact, this year, there are more than 200 law schools in the United States. Our moot court team is ranked number 10 in the country, which is really an outstanding achievement. So I debated about how to play this year. If we were to honor everybody that participated in a moot court competition and had some success, we wouldn't make it to 445's gathering up the hill. So I'm not going to do that. We've had a chance to honor various moot court members and other competition team members earlier in the year. But for each of the competition teams, I am going to mention one or two individuals, a few individuals for their successes. And I'll start with moot court. So I don't want to, I know I'm not talking about everybody. Please don't get offended. I'm trying to just kind of give the parents and family members a little bit of a flavor of the success that our students enjoyed. Andrew Milam and Logan Lewis competed in the Southeastern Regional Rounds at the Thomas Tang Moot Court Competition. They were awarded, made it to the semifinals, and then were awarded the best brief. They wrote the best brief of all the teams who competed. That's a pretty common theme for a lot of our students. It allowed them to move on to a national competition where they finished second overall again, and they were honored with writing the second best brief. So I wanted to signal those guys out as an example of a William & Mary moot court team that did terrific job as moot court advocates, oral advocates, but also who wrote very effectively. Our trial team is younger than the moot court team, but they have also enjoyed tremendous success. They're sort of a powerhouse nationally as well. I'll mention one or two of their successes. One of the very nice trial team competitions is the ABA Labor and Employment Competition that was in Washington, D.C. last fall. We won that tournament. The trial team finished first. Megan Watson and Sarah Kuthi were the winners. But I got to tell you, there was something interesting about that competition. This doesn't happen a whole lot unless William & Mary is involved. The final two teams was William & Mary A and William & Mary B. Taylor Treese and Ethan Sanders were also fantastic. So that's just an example. There have been a number of times in recent years where you get down to the final of a trial team competition, and it is a William & Mary team competing against the other William & Mary team. So that's been really been a lovely thing. There's so many other folks that I could speak about. I'll mention just one or two others. In the John Costello National Criminal Law Trial Advocacy Competition that our trial team competed at, the champions, we won that competition, Molly Ramsden and Ethan Sanders. And then there's a wonderful trial competition in Pittsburgh, Jack, as it turns out. It's one that we really enjoy going to because it takes place in a federal courthouse and all the judges are federal judges. We win this thing more than every other year. We won it again this year. Josh Lang was a member of that winning team, and Josh was also selected as the best advocate for the entire competition. I could go on about some other trial team victories. I'm not. For those who I didn't mention, you are loved as well. The ADR team is a newer competition team here at William & Mary, but they also had some success this year at the St. John Security Dispute Triathlon. Anna McMullen finished second place in arbitration. And at the University of Richmond environmental competition, Katie Lukish was runner-up. So that was another great success. Now, what we do every year is we have something called the Order of Barristers, and we select 10 students who the faculty believes and their coaches believe were particularly excellent at different kinds of advocacy. I'm going to ask Jennifer Franklin to come forward and to recognize these individuals.
The Order of Barristers was established at the University of Texas in 1965 as an honor society dedicated to the acknowledgement of superior advocacy. To be elected to the Order of Barristers, a student must have contributed substantially in an oral argument program, either in the administration of an advocacy program or through the development of advocacy skills through competition. The selection is limited by the school's student participation in competitive advocacy activities, and as Dean Douglas has said, only 10 students can be selected from our William and Mary's National Trial, Moot Court, and Alternative Dispute Resolution teams. Please come forward as your name is called. Kevin W. Connell. Colin C. Crookenden. Sarah J. Keithy. Joshua D. Lang. Anna J. McMullen. Andrew L. Milam. Taylor N. Treese. Trevor N. Ward. Megan N. Watson. Liesel A. Zimmerman.
I do want to point out that Jennifer Franklin, who was reading the names, is actually the coach of the midcourt team. So Jennifer, you had a great year. Now, we have one more Order of the Barrister member that we're going to recognize. We are entitled, as a law school, to select an honorary Order of the Barrister member, and we're going to do so today. I believe I have seen him here. Tillman Breckenridge, would you come down? Are you here, Tillman? Now, Tillman, you got to stay here with me while I say some nice things about you, and then we're going to recognize you. Hold on to that. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about Tillman Breckenridge. He runs what I think is one of the coolest programs at the law school. This is a program whereby our students work with Professor Breckenridge, who's a very distinguished appellate advocate, he's in the real world. He's practicing law, particularly appellate law. But he came to our law school some years ago and he says, I've got an idea for you guys. It would be marvelous if your students, moot court is wonderful, but moot court, those are kind of practice cases. What if our students could go out and argue cases in the United States Court of Appeals, all over the United States? And as Tillman will tell you, my first response, I was a little skeptical as to whether or not that would actually work. But it's like, hey, if you want to roll with it, let's roll with it. I'd love that if it can work. Well, what they did is they identified two kinds of cases: First Amendment cases, so that's freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and Fourth Amendment cases, which deal primarily with the criminal process. And they take these cases where someone has lost in a federal district court, and they take the case to the Court of Appeals. But who's the they? Well, the people that write the briefs are our students. The people that argue the cases are our students. And they go all over the United States. A few years ago, we had Justice Anthony Kennedy here, and I was explaining this to him, and he said, "That's unbelievable. I don't know of a law school that does something like this. That's a fantastic experience for your students." So this is all Tillman. He's a busy guy. He's got a very busy practice, but he's really devoted himself to this. It has been incredibly successful. Our win record has been very good. We're tending to take cases that are very challenging, and we've had a very powerful win record. And we've made a substantial difference in the law in a few jurisdictions as a result of the work of the students. And so it really is fantastic. They've argued in 9 different circuits around the country. Tillman goes with them to the arguments, but the students who have briefed the cases do the arguments themselves. And so it is, Tillman, it is wonderful for us to honor you with the Order of the Barristers. And I'm going to close by just reading a statement from one of your students who wrote as follows: "This course was one of the most important of my legal education. Not only did I gain substantive legal knowledge from the cases that we read and that we worked on, but I gained considerable practical and professional experience that will prepare me to be a much better lawyer." Tillman, that's what we're trying to do as professors. Thank you for all that you do. Now we begin with a series of academic awards that the students have earned based on their achievement in different classes. We're going to begin with the ABA BNA Award for Excellence in the Study of Health Law, and we have a number of these awards.
Hi, I'm Professor Stacy Karn-Shear. I teach health law courses. The graduate receiving this award today has demonstrated exceptional intellectual engagement and commitment to the study and practice of health law from the very beginning of her law school career. I remember that in January of her 1L year, she sent me an email just out of the blue asking to meet with me just to introduce herself and talk about how she might position herself for a career in health law. We met, and I was immediately struck not just by how she radiates kindness and genuineness, but also by her enthusiasm and passion for all kinds of health law questions and issues. I had the good fortune of having this student in class in both health law and policy and food and drug law during her time here at William & Mary. She thrived in these classes, always contributing significantly to the intellectual vibrancy and curiosity of the classroom. She wrote scholarly papers on complex issues of health insurance and the opioid epidemic. In addition to preparing herself for the practice of health law through coursework, she excelled in health law-related internships and externships, including at the Department of Justice Office of Vaccine Litigation and at Riverside Health System. The profession is very fortunate to be welcoming such a talent into the fold. For her superior performance and commitment to health law studies and being just an all-around health law rock star, I am so proud to present this award to Ms. Catherine Rockwell. Katie, please come forward if you're here. You know, I didn't see her out there and I was a little worried, but if you could all tell her all the nice things I said about her, then I will be sure that she gets the award. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Professor Sarah Ryatz. I am here to present the BNA IP Award, the American Bar Association and Bureau of National Affairs Award for the Excellence in the Study of Intellectual Property Law. That's a mouthful. Honors superior academic performance in the field of intellectual property law. The recipient this year has excelled in her IP endeavors at William & Mary. She earned top grades in each of the 7 IP courses she has taken. I think she took every single course she could possibly take, and received the Cali Award in Trademark Law just this semester. She also served as the Director of Development for the Student Intellectual Property Society and was a staff member on the Business Law Review. On a personal note, this student did extremely well in both courses she took with me and was my research assistant this past fall. She was fantastic. She produced clear and well-researched memos for me quickly. In fact, the first one I assigned her was something I assumed would take 3 weeks and some back and forth, but a week later she came into my office, came back with exactly what I wanted to know, ready to discuss it, and making me realize that I was going to have to work a lot more quickly to keep up with her. After graduation, she plans to join the law firm of Kroll and Mooring. We look forward to following her career in IP. I'm very pleased to present the ABBNA Award for Excellence in the Study of Intellectual Property Law to Emily Tucker. Please come forward.
Hi, I'm Linda Butler, and I teach in the land use and property area, and I am presenting the ABA State and Local Government Award for Outstanding Performance in Land Use and Local Government. The student receiving this received the top grade, the Cali Award, the top grade in the land use course that I teach. But equally as important to me, a teacher, is that he was great in the classroom. He always was prepared for class, and I knew that I could count on him to respond to the difficult questions and to handle all of the details of the cases and the law that can sometimes become very boring. To complete the circle, he is now going to be practicing in the real estate area. Zach Wiseman, can you come forward?
Hello, my name is Nathan Oman. I'm a professor of business law and bankruptcy law here. And I will be presenting the American Bankruptcy Institute Medal of Excellence Award. This is an award that's given for outstanding performance in the field of failure. The award itself is a very impressive medal that will be sent to our recipient, but today all he gets is a certificate. So I'd like to invite the recipient of this award to come forward, and then I will say nice things about him as he walks up to the stage. So this year's recipient is Paris H. Thompson III. Paris received the top grade of any graduating 3L in my bankruptcy course. Paris is one of these students who's very quiet, and he listens very, 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 very intensely. And then whenever he opens his mouth, it's very clear that he gets it. He understands very clearly what's going on with the law and how it applies to the case that we're discussing. And I think that's a very good description of a good lawyer. And we expect great things from him in the future. Thank you.
I'm here to present the ALI CLE Scholarship and Leadership Award, and this is awarded to the law student in the 2018 graduating class who best represents a combination of scholarship and leadership. Robert L. Jones IV, please come forward. As you saw earlier, Robert was one of the new inductees in Order of the Coif. He was a member of Law Review, the Moot Court team, served as an academic success program tutor and graduate research fellow, and also served as a student admission ambassador. After graduation, he will be clerking for the Honorable John Antoon of the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida, followed by the Honorable Robert King of the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. Upon completion of his clerkship, he will be joining the firm of Sullivan and Cromwell.
boy, and do it again.
My name is Professor Adam Gershowitz. I am here to provide us with the award for the Carter Kaplan and Company International Financial Law Award, which the students in the audience know there is no one on the stage less qualified to present given his area of expertise, but we make up for that because our recipient, I think there's no one more qualified to have received it and for whom we're quite proud. And so the law school is proud to recognize a graduating student annually who exhibits outstanding work in the area of international financial law. And this student, so interested in the life of the law school, someone who's present all the time, actually came to the law faculty after the semester was over, on the cusp of graduating as a 3L, to offer thoughts on what actually could be done better in the corporate curriculum, which is something you do not often see. And this year's recognition goes to Natalia Rizai.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Richardson, a retired tax lawyer and retiring tax professor. I have the great privilege of the sixth and final time for me to present the John E. Donaldson Award for the most outstanding tax student in the graduating class. But before I name the recipient, I'm going to tell you why we call this award the John E. Donaldson Award. John Donaldson is one of our own. Class of 63, editor of the Law Review. Went off to D.C. for a few years, earned his LLM at Georgetown, worked in the Office of General Counsel at the IRS, returned here in 1966, embarked on a 35-year career on the faculty, where he won every award a faculty member could win. He served in many administrative positions, also was a leader of the bar and in the community. He served on the James City County Board of Supervisors for 8 years. Now, surprisingly, John received the Citizen Lawyer Award almost 21 years ago now, I think. John, this is not a memorial. John's still with us. He is a great guy. Aside from all his accomplishments, I think the thing I find most remarkable about John is his modesty. He is one of the most decent and kindest people I have ever met. So I proudly am able to present this award because I like John so much and he's so deserving. But even more deserving today are the students, there are 2 of you, who are going to receive the award this year. What does one have to do to receive the award as the most outstanding tax student? First, you have to complete with distinction at least 3 tax courses. Why are the looks out there like, there are really students that take that many tax courses? There are actually quite a few. There really are. And the 2 who are the recipients of the Donaldson Award this year, I first saw as 2Ls in my partnership tax course spring semester of last year. I have taught a number of tax courses. That's the hardest one. They both excelled as 2Ls. Then they both excelled in my corporate tax course. And then this semester, only one of them was in my mergers and acquisitions tax course because the other one had already finished her coursework and had gone to study for the bar exam in New York. But notwithstanding the fact that one of them could not take my M&A tax course, she is equally deserving. We had a number of candidates, and Eric Chasen, another tax professor, and I could not distinguish the 2 and say that one is more deserving of the other. You've already heard both of their names today because they're both new COIF members, but you're going to hear them again. Darcy Case, Molly Ramsden, please come up here. Darcy has already passed the New York bar and is about to begin, or have you begun, with Latham and Watkins in New York. And Molly's going to go to, after she passes the bar, is going to go to Covington and Burling in D.C. And see, I can't even distinguish you based on height, because I think your heels are a little bit higher, Molly. Now, there's a certificate that each one of you gets. I think you probably want the one that has your name on it. There's also a monetary element, so you got to make sure the administration has your mailing address. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Vivian Hamilton. I teach civil procedure, race law, and education law. I am here this afternoon, however, to present the Family Law Book Award. The Family Law section of the Virginia State Bar and the Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers co-sponsors a Family Law Book Award to be presented to a graduating student at each Virginia law school who has demonstrated the most promise and potential for the practice of family law. The award consists of an appropriate family law practice book, not an inappropriate one, together with a certificate of achievement. This year's recipient is Emily A. Borg. And so the professors who worked with Emily nominated her for this award and asked me to be sure to extol her contributions in the classroom, her capacity for legal analysis, and her extraordinary commitment to issues affecting both children and families. So, Emily, congratulations. Wait, did you get the book? The appropriate?
Hello, I'm Tom McSweeney. I'm a legal historian here at the law school, and I'm going to present the William Angus Hamilton Prize today, which is awarded for the best paper in legal history by a graduating student. I'm pleased to announce that this year's winner of the Hamilton Prize is Peter Quinn Jacobs for his paper Designating the Sacred, a contest of religious values between Native and non-Native Americans. And Peter, are you here? Yeah, okay, come on up, Peter. So I've had the pleasure of getting to know Peter in three separate courses, but I have to say this paper was not actually written for one of mine. It was Professor McGarvey who nominated you, Peter. I've read the paper and we both thought it was great. So in Designating the Sacred, Peter argues that federal statutes that are meant to further or protect the religious freedom of Native Americans who practice Native religions often fail to do so effectively because they're based on Christian conceptions of what is sacred. And in the paper, Peter examines the development of Christian conceptions of the sacred in America from the 17th century to the present and demonstrates that recent statutes are inscribed with these kinds of notions of what's sacred. So Professor McGarvey and I both thought that it was a wonderful paper, well argued and elegantly written. So congratulations, Peter.
Good afternoon. I'm Fred Lederer. In conjunction with my colleague, Professor Iri Gafrida, of, I might add, Sicily, England, and now the greater metropolitan area of Williamsburg, we are here to award the Herman Prize. Now, the Herman Prize is named in honor of Richard Herman, an extraordinary, charismatic, high-technology Delaware lawyer and futurist. The award is only given when clearly merited, and it was not, for instance, given last year at all. This year, for only the second time in our history, we have a tie. And only one of the two recipients is here. So, as your name is mentioned as I read the citation, please join us. The Law School of the College of William and Mary in Virginia. To all shall see these presents greeting. This is to certify the 2018 Herman Prize has been awarded to Daniel Spencer and Elizabeth Mincer. In recognition of having demonstrated great potential in making future contributions to the enhancement of trial practice through the innovative use of courtroom technology, Ms. Mincer's continuing efforts to assist the Center for Legal and Court Technology in its operational academic efforts have brought great credit upon her and this institution and served as an inspiration to others. It is signed by the Dean, the President of the National Center for State Courts, and they put up with me. It also includes a small amount of money to be sent electronically, of course.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Abel. The courses I teach at the law school are admiralty law and employment law. And exclusive of seminars are three basic courses in employment law taught at the school: employment law itself, labor law, and employment discrimination. And through the generosity of John G. Crutchgo, we are able to annually recognize a graduating student who's excelled academically in at least two of those three courses. The recipient is selected by those in the law school faculty who teach the three courses I just mentioned, and the recipient this year is Hillary C. May. Hillary, would you please come up?
Hello, Vivian Hamilton again. I am now pleased to be presenting the National Association of Women Lawyers Award. This award recognizes a student who contributes to the advancement of women in society, promotes issues and concerns of women in the legal profession, exhibits motivation, tenacity, and enthusiasm, demonstrates academic achievement, and earns the respect of the dean and faculty. The real award is in the mail, but this memento certificate, I am also presenting this award with my colleague Anna Jason. I did not realize that you were there. I'm rocking this. It is our pleasure to present this award to Jacqueline Nicole Aleinko. Nicole, please come up. So, I've known Nicole since her first year, and Nicole has worked tirelessly, both during the academic year and during her summers, to protect and advance legal and social rights of women, particularly women who have suffered from intimate partner violence and immigrant women. So Nicole, congratulations. We're proud of you.
Now we have one other academic award to confer today, It is the Virginia Trial Lawyer Award for Excellence in Trial Advocacy. Now, the person who should be conferring this award, and indeed the person who made the decision about this award, is our trial team coach, Jeff Bright. Jeff, as it happens, is in Philadelphia. His daughter is graduating this weekend from the University of Pennsylvania. He would have died to have been here, because those of you who know Jeff, who have been on the trial team, know that it is hard to imagine someone more devoted to his students. And so he really wishes he could be here, but I'm going to announce the award in Jeff's absence, and we'll invite Megan Watson to come forward. So there's an award that I'm going to speak to now that's not in the program, but it's an award that was conferred this morning at the main campus graduation. Now, this award is called the Margaret Thatcher Award. As many of you may not know, Margaret Thatcher was the chancellor of the College of William and Mary for 7 years during the 1990s. We have a tradition of a chancellor. Robert Gates is our chancellor now. Sandra Day O'Connor has been our chancellor. It's an honorific role where someone spends a good bit of time on the campus. And so Thatcher was here. We have the Thatcher Prize for outstanding work by a graduate student. Now, there are several hundred graduate students who graduate from this university every year. And in all the years we've had the Thatcher Award, a law student has only won this twice. And the reason is you're competing against folks that have completed PhD dissertations, and it's for outstanding work as a graduate student. So we don't do so well as a general matter, but we won this year. And so I want her to stand up. This morning, it was the great pleasure of the law school to see Natalia Razai win the Thatcher Award. See, we like to win them all. An important part of legal education is work on a law review. We now have 5 student-run, student-edited law journals: the William and Mary Law Review, the William and Mary Bill of Rights Journal, the William and Mary Environmental Law and Policy Review, the William and Mary Journal of Women in the Law, new name change coming up next year, and the William and Mary Business Law Review. Now, let me say this to the parents. A lot of your graduates have served on a law review, and so you're going to dinner tonight, and you're sitting down at the table, and you're kind of looking for a conversation starter. That probably won't be too hard, but if you're looking for a conversation starter, here's what I want you to ask your graduate. Do you love the Blue Book? They'll explain to you what that is. If they do love the Blue Book, please let me know. That would be highly unusual. It's a citation-style book that all law review students have to learn. It's dreadful, but that's part of being on a law review. Now, one of the distinctions, our 5 law reviews this year had an extraordinary year. They published more than 6,400 pages of legal scholarship, and I don't even want to think about the number of Blue Book checks and other citation checks that the students went through to compile that extraordinary publication mark. Now, one of the marks of distinction of a law review is, are the articles and student notes, shorter essays, are they actually read by someone else and cited by someone else? Are they cited by a court? Are they cited by another legal scholar? And to the extent they are, that's a measure of the esteem with which the journal enjoys. And so what I'd like to do is to tell you, well, so how did our journals do? How are our journals do this year with those 6,400 pages? The William and Mary Law Review is ranked number 19 in the country among every law review in the nation, which is pretty extraordinary in terms of frequency of citation, and it's a mark of the prestige of that particular journal. And then our other journals work in specialty areas, and they're assessed within their specialty. So the William and Mary Bill of Rights Journal is the most cited specialty law review in the field of civil rights, and the second most cited specialty law review in the field of constitutional law. The William and Mary Environmental Law and Policy Review is the second most cited specialty law review in the field of energy law, and the sixth most cited specialty law review in the field of environmental law. The William and Mary Journal of Women in the Law is the ninth most cited specialty law review in the fields of gender studies, women, and sexuality. And finally, the William and Mary Business Law Review, our newest law review, is the ninth most cited student-edited law review in the field of corporate law and business associations. And I'll tell you this, it is quite a record. It's hard to have a sense of what those numbers mean. What they mean is that they are publishing important work. And why are they publishing important work? Because scholars around the country know that our journals do a very good job in the publication process, and so they want to publish their meaningful work, their important work in our 5 journals. And so it really is a wonderful record. I want to congratulate all of our students who served on a journal, and in fact, I'm going to ask you to stand up if you served on a journal here at William and Mary. We will now convey on individual members of the journals some special awards.
So the Dean's, Linda Butler again, the Dean's description of the importance of the student journals is a perfect segue into the presentation of the award for the best note on the environmental law in the current issue of the Environmental Law and Policy Review, because I think that this note could well be cited and have an influence. I'd like to call Sarah Spencer forward as I describe her note. The title of her note is Either Secrecy or Legal Monopoly, Why Should We Choose Fracking Patents? She wrote this in response to a recent district court case which strengthened trade secret protection for fracking fluids. And by strengthening trade secret protection, you are weakening public health protection. Sarah's note argues that fracking fluids should instead be protected by patent law as patents, that this would provide a best middle ground for not only protecting the property rights represented by the fracking fluids, but also the environment and public health protection. I have to say, Sarah, I have not seen this argument advanced before. That's why I think it's going to be very influential.
The Thomas Jefferson Prize is awarded every year for the best student note in the William and Mary Bill of Rights Journal, and it's actually awarded during the journal's end-of-the-year banquet, so I don't actually have anything for the winner today. This is just a recognition. Of the 8 notes selected for publication in the journal, this Jefferson Prize is given to the note that best addresses a novel and timely issue in constitutional law in a clear and persuasive manner. The journal is proud of all the notes it has published, but the note receiving the award today has been unanimously chosen as the best among its peers, a truly impressive accomplishment. At this time, we'd like Elizabeth Mincer to stand and be recognized for receiving the Thomas Jefferson Prize. Elizabeth's note, 50 Shades and 50 States, is BDSM a fundamental right, a test for sexual privacy, advocates for the sexual practice of BDSM to be constitutionally protected under the right to privacy, and argues that it should be reviewed under a form of heightened scrutiny. Congratulations, Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Aaron Brule. I'm pleased to confer 2 awards related to the Business Law Review. In both cases, there will be a plaque engraved with the winners' names on display in the law school. The first award is the Best Note Award, and the Business Law Review Best Note Award goes to Christopher B. Anderson. Chris's note is called Small Can Be Inventive, the Patentability of Nanoscale Reproductions of Macroscale Machines. Chris's note explains that inventions that have been reduced in size using nanotechnology are currently not patentable, but Chris explains that reducing the size makes the invention fundamentally different, explaining that inventions reduced in size should be eligible for patent protection. The note exemplifies the type of high-quality business law scholarship that the BLR endeavors to publish. Christopher, congratulations. The next award is the Business Law Review Outstanding Member Award, and that award goes to Zachary Wiseman. He served as BLR's senior articles editor, and he showed dedication to the journal throughout the year. Here are some comments from his colleagues. He went above and beyond what his position called for. He truly embodies the BLR spirit and model of excellence. Zach revamped his whole position, making the process more efficient and accurate. Over the past year, Zach has selflessly dedicated himself to BLR and to ensuring that the site checks go smoothly and that they are in a format that's useful to the executive board for further editing. BLR owes much of its success to dedicated editors like Zach. Congratulations.
Before I announce the recipients of the William and Mary Journal of Women and the Law Best Student Note and Outstanding Member, Dean Douglas has asked me to say just a few words about the Journal of Women in the Law itself. The journal has been a pioneering journal that has long published cutting-edge scholarship addressing a range of issues of law and policy affecting women. It has increasingly, though, published scholarship addressing gender equity and social justice issues more broadly. This year's board, led by its fearless editor-in-chief, Renuka Santhanagop, I practiced, Renuka Santhanagopalan, determined that the journal's name, I'm sorry, Renuka, determined that the journal's name should more accurately reflect the true scope of the scholarship contained in its pages. With the blessing of the journal's founders and the law school administration, going forward, the journal will be known as and will be publishing as the Journal of Race, Gender, and Social Justice. It is now my pleasure to announce the Best Student Note. For her note, The Hard Truth About the Penile Plethysmograph, Gender Disparity and the Untenable Standard in the Fourth Circuit, we ask Lindsay Bloomberg to please come forward. Maybe Lindsay is not here. However, her note sheds light on a troubling and less visible problem in our judicial system. It outlines how certain outdated practices, upon which I will not elaborate here, are not only still performed on people today with an inbuilt gender disparity, but also how such evidence is questionably used in courtrooms. A plaque recognizing her note will be on display at the law school. The second journal-related award that I would like to announce is for the outstanding member of the journal. We are pleased to ask Samantha J. Forsythe to come forward. I see Samantha is here. To be recognized for her outstanding work and devotion to the Journal of Women in the Law. Her nomination noted that Samantha has done an outstanding job as articles editor with great attention to detail that was vital during the publication process. Her work product, the nomination notes, was always executed perfectly. A plaque honoring Samantha will also be on display at the law school.
Hello again. I'm Nathan Oman. I am also the advisor for the William and Mary Law Review, and I will be presenting the award for the best note in the William and Mary Law Review. The recipient will receive a certificate, and then his name will be immortalized for all time in a plaque in the law school. So if Matthew Rosendahl could please come forward. We're recognizing Matthew for his law review note, I Tenant, How the Law Should Treat Rental Relationships in the Sharing Economy. The note addresses the new challenges and opportunities of the room sharing economy, using Airbnb as an example. The note argues that instead of treating Airbnb hosts as landlords, their guests as tenants, the law should see the platform as establishing a modern take on the innkeeper role. Specifically, the note proposes a model for how the law should treat Airbnb hosts as the preeminent example of room-sharing entrepreneurs, bringing together existing paradigms from traditional areas of law to create a new doctrinal treatment focused on promoting the sharing economy and ensuring the proper regulation of its users. So if you use Airbnb and you find yourself sued, you'll be treated as an innkeeper rather than a landlord, and we can thank Matthew for that.
So I'm going to jump in with one other award that is not on the program, but actually it's an award that Matt received earlier this year. Every year, every law school in America is invited to nominate one piece of a student work. And 10 pieces of student work nationwide, there are more than 200 law schools, you do the math, are awarded a Burton Award for Outstanding Legal Writing. We nominated Matt as he was our nominee this year, and he was one of those 10 students, which was really an extraordinary thing given that there are more than 200 nominees for this prize. I'll tell you this, we've been doing this for about 15 years. William and Mary has had more winners than any other law school other than Georgetown and the University of Pennsylvania. So I say this because we put a big emphasis on writing here. It's a very important skill for all lawyers, and our students do very well. Congratulations, Matt. Now, central to our educational process of training students to be lawyers is the training in professionalism. We recognize that students need to have a particularly robust commitment going out into the world to conduct themselves as professionals. And so we have a group of awards designed to recognize this. And these awards will be presented by Professor Laura Killinger and Professor Anna Chasen.
Today it is my distinct honor, along with Assistant Director Professor Anna Chasen, to present the law school's Professionalism Awards on behalf of the school's Legal Practice Program. Now, William and Mary's Legal Practice Program requires students to complete courses during their first and second years of law school that focus on legal writing and critical lawyering skills such as negotiations, interviewing, and other oral communication skills. Each year, the legal writing faculty, along with the lawyering skills professors, together select the one student from each legal practice section to receive the Kimball Professionalism Award. This award is given to the student in each section who best exemplifies dedication to the mastery of lawyering skills and professionalism. Each recipient will receive an inscribed, shiny new Jefferson Cup and a certificate commemorating the award. Would the following award recipients please come forward? Perry F. Austin. Brian P. Becker. Savannah R. Gibbs. Mark J. Greco. Robert L. Jones. Lori Kai. William L. Lewis. Andrew L. Milam. Sarah E. Miller. Shavarma T. Pemberton. Natalia Rezai. Ethan J. Sanders. Allison L. Shuttler. Catherine O. Seamus. And Trevor N. Ward. Smile. Thank you all. Congratulations. We have one more professionalism award to award today, and this is the Spong Professionalism Award. It is selected from the Gambrell Professionalism Award winners. And this award is given by the Society of the Alumni of the College of William & Mary to the third-year student in the class who best exemplifies professionalism and ethics in the legal practice program. The Spong Award is selected by the Legal Practice Executive Committee, and the recipient receives a Jefferson Cup, a certificate, and a check. It gives me extreme pleasure to present this award today to Natalia Rezai.
We now turn to the final section of our program, which is, which is service awards. We value service greatly at William & Mary Law School, and so we like to take the opportunity to honor those who have been particularly robust in their service, both to the law school and outside of the law school. For the past decade or so, Dean's certificates have been awarded to a small group of students for their service to the law school and whose service has been particularly compelling. It's not easy to pick 20 or so students each year because there's so many of our students who engage in so much service to the law school and to their fellow students. But we have made our selections, and I'd like these individuals to come forward and receive a Dean's Certificate in honor of your service to the law school. Nicole Alenko. Perry Austin. Laura Blado. Catherine Blum. Kevin Connell. Samantha Forsythe. Kelsey Gill. Patrick Harner. Kristen Hopkins. Sarah Kuthi. Logan Lewis. Michaela Lieberman. Kevin McCandlish. Sarah Miller. Mary Picard. Vania Ratliff. Natalia Razai. Matt Rosendahl. Rainika Santhana Gapalan. William Lee Waller. Trevor Ward. Blake Willis. And Victoria Woods. One more person. Thank you all for your service. We very much appreciate it. Each year, the College of William and Mary confers on a small group of students from all parts of campus the Ewell Award. The criteria are outstanding participation and leadership on campus or other community activities, and on the basis of service contributions to the school or to the community. Now, these awards were awarded earlier this month. Or last month, I should say. And so I'm just going to ask these folks to stand up. But before I do, I just want to say just a quick word, dip into another little piece of history here about what is the Ewell Award and why is it named the Ewell Award. Benjamin Ewell was the president of the College of William and Mary in the late 1850s and 1860s. Now, that was a horrible time to be president of the College of William and Mary. One of the key issues on the plate was, would Virginia secede from the Union? Ewell thought that was a terrible idea. He was overruled. Virginia did secede from the Union, as you all know your history. And what happens is this part of Virginia is ground zero in the Peninsula Campaign. The university is devastated. It shuts down. It is truly almost a mortal blow to the College of William and Mary. Benjamin Ewell again. He decides that the college will come back someday. It's been shut down. It's been closed. It's been severely damaged. But it will return, and the way he symbolized the return is he would ring the Wren bell at the Wren building on a regular basis, symbolizing that the students will someday come back. And it's for his fortitude that the Yule Award was named, the Benjamin Yule Award. And the recipients that we have from the law school this year, and I'm going to ask you to stand again, Nicole Alanko, Kristen Hopkins, Peter Quinn Jacobs, and Lizelle Zimmerman. Now we're talking about service, and I want to tell the parents and families here that our many student organizations engage in an extraordinary amount of service, not just in the law school, but to the community. It's a tradition here at Women Marry. It's a tradition in a number of law schools, but I don't know of another law school that has such a robust service engagement as does Women Marry Law School. To that end, I could speak about all of the student organizations, but I want to speak about just one again as an exemplar that engages each year and did so again this year in such an extraordinary range of service to the law school and to the community. And this is our Black Law Students Association. Let me tell you just a few of their service activities. They organized again our annual Thanksgiving basket competition among the first-year legal sections, which led to gathering more than 2,500 items of food for needy families in this area. They host an annual banquet to raise scholarship dollars for Women Marry students. The BASA students volunteer at a wonderful program called the Madison Alternative School in Norfolk, where members of BASA mentored teenagers who have been placed in this alternative school for disciplinary issues. And I had the pleasure of sitting with the director of this program a couple of weeks ago, who said, "You have no idea the impact that your students, your law students have, who work with these students who are in a tough spot in life and need a change of direction." Our BASA students also volunteer with Newport News Habitat for Humanity. They have involved themselves in the Adopt a Highway event, which involves cleaning up a highway site. They have organized a law day for students who might think about wanting to come to law school. And so it's a chance to get a sense of what law school is, and is this something that would be useful for me? I could go on and on. But BASA really does lead the way among a large group of student organizations who engage in very substantial service. If you're a member of BASA, I'm going to ask you to stand. Thank you.
I'm Caleb Stone. I teach Veterans Benefits, and I'm here to present the Clinical Legal Education Association Outstanding Student Award, which goes to one student every year who exemplifies the values of clinical education: excellence in fieldwork, excellence in the seminar portion of a clinical course, and contribution to the clinical community. The student selected for this year's award is Timothy Watson. Tim, come forward as I sing your litany of praises, figuratively, of course. Tim spent hundreds and hundreds of hours helping clients at the Lewis B. Puller Jr. Veterans Benefits Clinic gain compensation for disabilities related to military service. He enrolled in 3 Puller Clinic classes and worked for us during his 1L summer. As a supervisor, I can tell you his immense talent was immediately evident even back then. Forever sharp-witted, Tim posed insightful questions and gave articulate answers in our classes. In the community, Tim went the extra mile in volunteering his time, enthusiastically representing the clinic at several functions all over the Commonwealth. But most importantly, Tim's client work was exemplary. He acted diligently to identify winning arguments and acquire the crucial evidence that's necessary to win. He quickly earned a reputation for being able to handle complex claims and difficult clients. And this was often reflected in his very, very tough case assignments. Sorry. And Tim's writing really importantly, was money in the bank, sometimes literally. To name just one example, a brief that he authored during his 1L summer won around $70,000 in past due benefits for a veteran who experienced sexual trauma during military service and is going to be worth thousands of dollars to that veteran going forward in lifetime expected benefits. That's just one example. You all are just getting the brief speech enough to kick the tires and light the fires. Tim, if there was a Clinic Hall of Fame, you'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Congratulations on this award, and thank you for your service.
Ask the president of the organization, Vincent Grosso, to come forward to present the George Wythe Society Award. Is Vincent here? Vincent is not here. We will not be presenting that right now. We will present that a little later. The Honor Council is one of our most important student-run organizations. It protects and nurtures the climate of trust and integrity central to the law school's life. The Honor Council has been ably led this year by Sarah Miller. And Sarah, if you will come forward, and I'd like for you to introduce your other Honor Council members.
Hi, everyone. Oh, my gosh. Okay, our first member, Catherine A. Broderick. Jeffrey A. Moore. Sarah Beth Rabin. Matthew G. Rosendahl. Amanda E. Stevenson. Trevor N. Ward. And Mary J. Zaioli.
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Jones, and it is my pleasure to present the Special Education Advocacy Award. In recognition of outstanding service to children with disabilities and their families through the Special Education Advocacy Clinic given by Claire Maddox of the class of 2005 and Robert Ribble in honor of Evan and in memory of Brooks. For a graduating student who has shown a dedicated commitment to special education law and the rights of children. This year's recipient is Jennifer A. Quezada Castillo. Jennifer's advocacy efforts led to a young student being prevented from being suspended for behavior related to his disability. She represented a family seeking guardianship over their adult son with a disability and frankly outshone all of the lawyers we saw in court that day. She presented two community presentations, one on special education law, on the other on guardianship, to our community members. And she has been an incredible student, a consummate professional, and an unflappable advocate. Congratulations, Jennifer.
The Student Bar Association plays a very important role here at the law school. They function essentially as our student government association, and they were led exceptionally well this year by Blake Willis. And Blake, I'm going to ask you to come forward and hand out the certificates for your members. Thank you. Blake.
Thanks, Dean Douglas. Like the Dean said, my name is Blake Willis, and I've had the privilege to serve as the SBA president for the past year. Up on stage with me is Alyssa Kaiser, who will be the president for the coming year, and she'll be handing out the certificates. Just a few words on the SBA. It is comprised of students who have been elected or appointed as leaders of their class and of the law school. It is the student government organization, and members of each class are elected as representatives, as well as to the executive board. We also have a number of students who are appointed to serve in specific roles each year. It's been my honor to work with these people and to see the unbelievable amount of work that they do publicly and behind the scenes. They truly can't be recognized enough for what they do. They plan some of the school's most prominent social events and represent their classmates working with the administration to tackle the school's challenges. And each of these individuals that I'm going to be calling up in a moment has fulfilled their positions with a consummate level of grace, professionalism, and sensitivity towards their fellow students, the school's administration, the faculty, and the staff. And so I'm honored to recognize them today for their time, effort, and leadership that they've given to the law school. Morris J. Brailsford III. Daniel J. Hankis. Kristen B. Hopkins. Emily Manbeck. Kevin B. McCandlish. Cameron V. Melton. Rebecca R. Ribley. Catherine M. Rockwell. Tyler J. Sherman. And Lynn Wong.
And since Blake can't announce himself, Blake Willis.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Kaplan, and among my responsibilities here is coordinating the law school's public service and pro bono initiatives. In keeping with William & Mary's citizen lawyer tradition, the law school confers certificates on graduates who have distinguished themselves through volunteer service to clients, organizations, and causes that better their communities. The class of 2018 has a bumper crop, 67, of community servants. Now, I'm mindful that I'm standing here as the next to last person between you and the spread over at the law school, so I won't read 67 names, but they're listed on the back of the program. So if you are a law school community servant and your name is listed, please stand while I describe your accomplishments to the people here. The class of stay standing, please. Please stand. The class of 2018 volunteered at soup kitchens and homeless shelters. They tutored children, teenagers, and adults, built homes for Habitat for Humanity, and nurtured the environment through park cleanups and recycling initiatives. They collected food, clothing, books, and toys for the underprivileged. This year's community servants were active in political campaigns. They helped the conduct of fair elections, regardless of political affiliation, by answering voters' questions and assuring access to voting rights. These graduates made their communities safer by prosecuting offenders, and they also safeguarded the rights of indigent criminal defendants. These community servants literally saved lives through blood drives and the annual bone marrow drive. This year's honorees secured relief for low-income clients who were taken advantage of by predatory lenders, facing eviction and risk of losing their children. Please join me in congratulating the class of 2018 community servants.
So, you heard me say a few minutes ago that we have the George Wythe Society Prize for Service, and I am now going to present that. We're not leaving here until we present it, and we are going to present it. The winner of the George Wythe Society Award for Outstanding Service, and I'm going to ask him to come forward, Kevin McCandlish. So Kevin, you get to stand here while I extol your virtues for just a second. This is what the citation reads as to why the George Wythe Society chose Kevin McCandlish. Outstanding service to the law school community and for fidelity to those qualities of character, leadership, and selfless service which distinguish the life of George Wythe. According to Kevin's nomination package, he is a true team player. Even with his busy schedule with the SBA, for example, he made time to help the society organize its mock legislature. But the key in his selection for the award is the passion with which he acts. Kevin wants to help things, all things, with his passion and his always willingness to help. Kevin, this is a wonderful honor. You will receive a certificate and your name will be inscribed on a plaque at the law school. All right, we have come to the end of the award ceremony, and I do want to invite all of you to go over to the law school for a lovely reception. So thank you for being here, but before we leave, I want us to give one final round of applause for the William & Mary Law School class of 2018. We are dismissed.